everyone. Have a nice day. Welcome back. As you all know, we are in chapter 2, data abstraction. In my last two videos, I explained about data abstraction and singly linked list, doubly linked list, queue and stack ADT, then constructors and selectors, and what are constructors and selectors, and the example. Then I explained about abstract data and concrete data, then representation of abstract data using rational numbers, and then I gave example about wiseful thinking, list, and today I'm going to start tuples. So tuple is also a data type. Remember, a pair is a compound data type that holds two pieces of data. Here you see this is pair. Okay, now here you see, if you notice one thing, this bracket indicates list and this bracket indicates tuple. Okay, these are called pair. Fine, right? Now see here. So far we have provided you with two ways of representing pair data type. The first way is using list construct. This is a list construct, already we have seen this. And second way to implement pairs is with the tuple construct. This is tuple construct. Okay. A tuple is a comma separated sequence of values surrounded with parentheses. This is called parenthesis. Okay. Tuple is similar to list. The difference between the two is that you cannot change the element of tuples once it is assigned, whereas in a list, element can be changed. That means here, once you assign the element in tuple, you cannot change. It is called immutable. Immutable means you cannot change. List are mutable. That means you can change, right? Representation of tuple as a pair. Represent of nums is the name of the list, and you have two elements, 1, 2. And how you can represent nums? First position 0, that is 1. Num second position 1, that is 2. Okay. Note, the square bracket notation is used to access the data you stored in the pair. This is square bracket. So using this only you can access the element. The data in 0 index meaning you access the first element with nums of 0 and the second with the nums of 1. Okay. The next topic is data abstraction in structure. Structure is also a data type, right? Like list and tuple. Already you know about structure. Last year you learned in C++ class and structure, right? Same. As you already know, the list allows data abstraction in that you can give a name to a set of memory cells, right? For instance, in the game Mastermind, you must keep track of a list of colors that a player guesses. There is a game called Mastermind. Okay, in that game, it is nothing but a code breaking game with two players. One player will give the clue, who is a code maker, and another player will break the code, who is code breaker. 4 colors will be there, and code maker will fix one color, and code breaker should guess. Okay, it can be red, blue, green, yellow. So now what happened? Code maker will give the clue based on the colors, right? And the code breaker can take 10 chances to break the code. This is a simple game, but a very powerful game, right? So here, list data type cannot be used to give the names to each element if it is multi-item. So if it is multi-item, you cannot use list, right? Okay, so now here you see, instead of using 4 separate variables, color 1, color 2, color 3, color 4, you can use a single variable called predict. Using this variable, you can access each and every color. See here, predict is equal to red, blue, green, and yellow. Instead of green, you can keep it as yellow, right? Now, what list do not allow us to do is name the various parts of multi-item. I cannot name the various part of the multi-item. I cannot access. That means In the case of predict, you don't really need to name the parts. Here, you don't need to name each and every part. Fine. Using an index to get each color suffixes. But in the case of something more complex like person, see here it is all same data. That means all based on colors. Suppose, for example, if it is a multi-item means, for example, student. Student will have student ID, student name, student roll number, class, section, etc. This is called multi-item object. Okay, where each item is named thing, the first name, the last name, the ID, and the email. One could use a list to represent a person. See here, this is person, that is class name. This is a function name. Okay, and these are the attributes: first name, last name, ID, email. Okay, now you see now. A person is equal to Padmashri Bhaskar 994-222-1234. This is a phone number. And computerscience@gmail.com. See here, each and every data is different. Okay, but such a representation does not explicitly specify what each part represents. For this problem, instead of using a list, you can use structure construct. In object-oriented language, it is called a class construct. Already I explained about class, right? To represent multi-part object where each part is named. Consider the following pseudocode. Class person is a name, class name. Creation is a function name. And inside that, you see first name, last name, ID, and email. Here you can give the data. See, first they have stored only the empty space. Afterwards, you can enter the data. So the new data type person is pictorially represented as just now I explained it. Is it clear? Right? So here you see, let main contains main. Main is a function name and PI person. Now statement creates an object. See here, this is an object. This is a function. Right? First name Padmashri, last name Bhaskar, ID is this. Oh, I told phone number, it is an ID. Okay. Email, computer science. That is computerscience@gmail.com. So here you are setting a field class first name to Padmashri, Bhaskar to last name, and this ID to ID, and email to this. So the class structure construct defines a form for multi-part object that represent a person. This represent a particular person. Fine. So it defines, adds a new data type. In this case, a type name person. Data person. Once defined, we can create a new variables instance. Instance is nothing but object. Once you create this, you can create an instance. Right? In this example, person is referred to as a class or a type. Here, person is a class name and PI is nothing but object. So PI refers to as an object or an instance. Both instance and object both are same, right? You can think a class person as a cookie cutter, right? PI as a particular cookie. Okay, cookie cutter is nothing but knife. So PI is nothing but cookie. So using cookie cutter, you can cut the cookie into so many pieces, right? Same way, using class, you can create many objects. Already you know that. Using a class, you can create many objects inside the class. Okay. So far, you have seen how a class defines a data abstraction by grouping related data items. These are related items. Okay. Related items related to a particular person. Right? A class is not just a data. It has function defined with it. See, this class is not having only the data. It has got a function to implement that data. Right? So, we say such functions are subordinate to the class because their job is to do things with the data of the class. Example, to modify or analyze the data of a person object. Suppose here, for example, this ID is different or this ID is wrong. I can modify it and then I can analyze it, right? So, therefore, we can define a class as a bundle data and the function that works on that data. This is a bundle data. These are the data and the function which works on the data. For all the above example and the explanation, one can conclude that a beauty of data abstraction is that we can treat a complex data in very simple way. Now you understood? Okay, so that completes chapter 2, and today I covered tuple, right? And then in tuple, what are pairs? And then I explained about data abstraction in structure, right? And one difference I will tell you, C and C++. C uses structure and C++ uses class. Okay, why? Because in structure, all the data which you store inside the structure are public. But in C++, when you use class, all the data which is stored inside are private. Now you understood, everyone? So that completes the chapter. Please go through the video, and still if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, children? See you. Take care. Bye.